Hey guys, Allison here. All right, I want to talk to you today about fear because it's real popular, right? Now with the coronavirus threat, people are becoming very fearful. But before this pandemic came on the scene, there was already a global pandemic of anxiety. So many people, and I know you're out there, already suffer anxiety disorders, and this could really be taking it off the charts for you. And many of you who may not have been that fearful, this can be causing a lot of anxiety. So I want to give you some advice, and I want to take a look at what fear actually is. Now, fear is an emotion that God gave us, and it gets activated in response to a perceived threat, whether it's physical, emotional, or spiritual. And it has a place in our life. If something really is an imminent threat, that emotion of fear, the adrenaline that we get, gives us that ability to either fight or flee the threat. But what anxiety is fear that's kind of overflowed its banks. It's usurped its place and it's taking over. And it's not an imminent threat, but it could be worry. It kind of piles up on us. So what we want to do is we want to get a handle on this. If you're already experiencing anxiety, or if you're starting to experience anxiety with what's going on. So first thing we want to do, most people, when you feel fearful, you want to take some action. So people are running to stores and buying toilet paper of all things, but feeling like I need to have enough to take care of myself and my family. And that's okay, and that's a good thing. Keep it in perspective, don't go overboard. God is in control here, folks. He really is. Now, of course, this makes us realize that maybe it's a good idea to always have a little extra stuff on hand because you never know what's going to go on. But keep it in perspective. This too will pass. I want to suggest that you really back off on the coverage here. All right, there's so much on social media. Every time you turn on the TV or the radio, you're going to be hearing about it, and they're going to tell you all the numbers, and it's making a lot of people fearful. But I also want you to keep a perspective on the numbers because the numbers are still relatively low. Now, I know people will say, yes, but they can get really big really quick. Yes, that's true, but we are taking really extraordinary actions in our country to contain this and to stop the spread. So I want you to consider this. In 2009, 2010, we had the swine flu epidemic. Over 60 million people in America were infected. Over 300,000 went to the hospital, and over 12,000 people died from the swine flu. We didn't hear much about it, right? And if we look back, it doesn't really affect us now, 10 years later, right? So one of the things that the difference, I think, is that it took 135 days from the onset of that before a national emergency was declared, whereas it's taken 2 days with this one. And like I said, there are extraordinary measures. So listen to what they're telling you. Wash your hands. One little hint, disinfect your cell phone when you come in. Those things are gross. They're really covered with germs. Be prudent. If you're immune compromised, if you're elderly, please stay home. If you're sick, please stay home. Think about other people. Look in on your elderly neighbors. Take action that way. That's one thing I want to say. The other thing is to think about what opportunities exist in this adversity, because in every adversity, there are seeds of opportunity and there are seeds of blessing. Now, I know this is terribly disruptive to many people. You may not be going to work. Your kids may be home and you may be going to work, and that's very stressful. And if they are home, they may be climbing the walls. But what are the blessings here? What are the opportunities? I remember in 2003, I think it was, we had a blackout in New York. I think it was the whole Eastern Seaboard. I was in my office, the lights went out. We finished the session by candlelight. My next session I did on the front steps of the building. I rushed home to use the gas grill and cook dinner because my sister was on her way with my 2 nieces to move to New York from Ohio. So it was a crazy time. But I remember sitting by the window that night. Thank God it wasn't that hot. It was August, so the air conditioning being off wasn't that big a problem. And I remember how still and peaceful it was. And the next morning, went to Mass, the lights weren't on. Bagel store had a generator, so we had bagels and coffee, and people were really making the best of the situation. Thankfully, it didn't last very long and the electricity came back on. But I remember thinking back then, like, wow, this is like a reset. We should do this once a year to shut everything down and really just have that time to rest. So if you're not going to work and you don't have that commute right now, maybe you're working from home, take advantage of that. Maybe have a little bit more prayer time. Spend more time with your children. Think about how God is going to use this, even in terms of us recognizing how we do need to be more prepared in general. But avoid going too far into fear, all right? I think that's really important. Turn it off. We don't want to focus on what we fear. We always want to focus on God and His power to overcome everything. And what did Jesus tell us? Worry is useless. What is needed is trust. So I hope that's helpful. Let's pray that this passes quickly. But like I said, if you're already struggling with anxiety, take the measures now to shut this down. Do what you're told, but stop looking at the problem, because God has and is the solution. So may God bless you. Please like and share this video. Let's all pray. Let's really unite ourselves in prayer during this difficult time in our nation and in the world, that God will bring great good, even greater good than we can imagine from this crisis and this time of anxiety. So make sure you like and share the video, and please hit the subscribe button. God bless you.